Let's roll with this. So today we're going to talk about the general vision and mission of NOM, and kind of how we get there. A lot of stuff about our organization is really very easy to understand if you understand our mission. So the mission which really is a guiding principle. The mission is simply holistic recovery for all. And so every word in this actually has a lot of meaning, and I quite mean every single word. Holistic, biopsychosocial, spiritual. There's no other way other than holistic. Recovery, rediscovery. We all got recovery. We're born with it, and then we lose it in our as we are aging. And then it's about recovering it, hence recovery. It's very hard to create health from scratch. That's way above my pay grade. To this date, we have not been able to grow and recreate even wound healing, cuts healing. Can't recreate it in a lab. It's a very special healing process. But recovering and rediscovering something you already had, that's totally doable. Holistic recovery for all. All means all. All means all of humanity. All means staff. All means patients. All means volunteers. All means families. All means all. Society, organization. There is no one that we do that is not this mission statement doesn't apply to. So it's a very big and broad mission, and it's served as a guiding principle. And so achieving that is done one step at a time. So it's like a big mountain. Climbing a big mountain, if you start looking up and you get a bit discouraged. So we just take one step in front of another. It's been about 3.5 years. One step after another, one decision point after another, guided by a mission. Make sure we're doing things the way we are meant to, allows us to actually accomplish big things in not so little time, not so much time. So the mission is holistic recovery for all. It's a spiritual mission. It is a sacred mission, and it's one that is a life mission. And I take it very seriously, and I mean every word. The vision. So what does this look like as an organization at this point? The vision is for NOM as an organization to behave and to be a catalyst for the transformation of how humans relate to themselves and to others. And so the vision really is NOM serving as a catalyst. I'll explain that further. A catalyst for the transformation of how we relate to ourselves and others. And what that means is that right now we're developing we're developing our system of looking after people, and it's in development, so it's a bit messy, can be a bit shifting, but we are in the process of developing a catalyst. And catalysts are all about transformation, and they're about changing things for the better. And ultimately, what this will result in is simply this. Holistic recovery for all will come about when communities look after communities, which includes the most vulnerable. So the example is when we move away from black sheeping and we say this alcoholic is a good person. He can do good things. Why not have him go and serve other people, such as in a senior home? Why not have the community as a large embrace these vulnerable people and serve them? The reason that's not happening is because there's a lot of blocks in how we relate to ourselves and to others, and none will catalyze the transformation of that so that this can happen. Because ultimately this is when holistic recovery for all will happen. Because otherwise it's very expensive. There's 7 or 8 billion people on the earth. You're never going to get to holistic recovery for all unless you empower people to look after themselves. But there's blocks. There's blocks, and NOM's purpose is to catalyze the dissolution of these blocks so that people catalyze the dissolution of these blocks so that this can happen. And so how will that happen? And why is the word catalyze a very important word? Is because the things we're talking about here are way beyond the pay grade of any one person. But the thing is actually the building blocks are all there. There's all sorts of ways for healing and self-discovery out there. It's just people are blocked up. And so if we can, using our tools and things, we can sort of give them ways to access what they already have. The thing about a catalyst is that it never really gets involved in a chemical reaction. So a catalyst is a change agent. A catalyst is something that if A plus B need to combine, but they're not doing it, a catalyst will help make that happen very, very easily. Whereas before, A plus B sit together, but they don't combine. So that's a chemical reaction, and that's what the word catalyst stands for. So Nam is being developed as a catalyst, and the vision is that once we get it right here in Calgary, we can drop one of these into Vancouver or India or some other place, and the transformation will happen. Not by Nam doing all the work. There's a lot of great agencies doing a lot of important work. They just don't have the tools or the understanding to kind of carry it through. The goal is not for Nam to become very, very the sole service provider on the earth. That's not reasonable. The goal is whatever system is in place, helping it do better. And how do we do that? We have what I call the pillars. So here are the pillars of how we get there. And these pillars are important to understand, so because otherwise you won't necessarily understand why things are as they are, why we're measuring things, why we're doing things. So the pillars, to achieve this, the qualities or the aspects of our organization that will allow us to achieve this, the first is what I call a catalytic culture. A catalytic, I actually wrote on my sheet, catalytic coaching culture. That's kind of what I've written down there. So if we want to transform others, we must first transform ourselves. The nature of a catalyst is it never gets involved in a reaction. It emerges entirely unused. So if the metal is palladium and it catalyzes the formation of some molecule, the palladium makes it happen easier, and then the reaction happens, those things move on, something new comes. Unused. Meaning we don't get disturbed by the transformation. That's what is causing a lot of the burnout in healthcare professionals and mental health care professionals, is they lose themselves with every reaction, and then only after so many reactions they say, I can't do this anymore. So that doesn't have to be how it is. So we need a catalytic coaching culture. Why coaching? Is because a coach versus an instructor, a coach tells people, or an instructor tells people, do this how I did it, it'll work for you, like it worked for me. A coach will say, you're different than me, whatever your potential is, let's get you there. Whatever your role in this world is, let's get you doing it better. It's not about me, it's about that person. And the advantage of that is they get to be their potential, we get to remain emotionally intact, biologically, socially, psychologically, spiritually intact. So catalyst coaching culture needs to start here with us. It needs to start with the work on ourselves. The second pillar, and this means not just for ourselves, but this catalytic coaching culture is the approach we take to families. It's the approach we take to the patients. It's the approach we take to ourselves. It's the approach we take to our management. It's the approach we take to the subordinates. It's the approach we take to the bosses. It's the approach we take to the volunteers. It's the approach we take everywhere, inside and out, It has to be everyone viewing themselves as a catalyst. And the very important concept is the small is as big as the whole, is as important as the whole, and the whole is as important as the small. So no aspect, from the janitor to the secretary to the VPs or whoever, no one is unimportant. Everyone is essential, which means everyone has to do this work. You can't just be kind of just come and do your job and leave, because your job is essential to all of us. So we embrace a catalytic coaching culture for the transformation of self and others. And so obviously if we're saying it's a pillar, then we will give tools to do that. Second thing is what we call the win-win culture. So there's win-wins in life, and everything else is a lose. So whether non-wins, employee loses, that's a lose for everyone. Employee wins, non-loses, that's a lose for everyone. Lose-lose is a race to the bottom. That's a loss for everyone. It has to be a win-win, or we wait until it is. It's that simple. So we don't have an HR department, we have a win-win office. Because that's the only thing that matters. If we can't get to a win-win with our people, with our and win-win doesn't mean pleasant. It doesn't mean fun and games all the time. Win-win means hard work. But win-win means that you're not going to be thrown under the bus. Win-win means you're not going to throw others under the bus. That's not none. Because a catalyst has to be stable inside. It can't be falling apart. It needs to have a good, authentic, honest core that's based in truth. So win-win culture. Number 3. This one I've called something quite simply, I couldn't think of any other word other than the radical willingness to innovate. Radical, beyond traditional boundaries. I will not be constrained, Nam will not be constrained by diagnosis, by gender, by societal norms that are based in trauma, by family norms that are derived from trauma. Most things in life that constrain us and keep us stuck are trauma-based or intergenerational trauma-based, and we're not interested in anything other than radical willingness to innovate. So we need that at every level. We need that from the secretary up onto the top. Everyone must be thinking about how can we do this job, not a little bit better doesn't change nothing. At least, and I added this in, not just 10 times better at 1/10 the cost, I say at least 10 times better at 1/10 the cost. That's where a passable solution begins, in my mind. So radical willing to innovate, to create outcomes greater than 10 times better. At 1/10 the cost. Someone wants to give me a marker. Maybe I'll just try reading already. So, anything less than this, no one listens. Our goal as Nam is to prove it. And this is what it's going to take for anyone to listen. No one cares about 5% better. Politics will win the day. Who knows who? But when you get so much better with so little, no one can ignore it. That's what it was with diabetes. People were dying of diabetes by the age of 30, and overnight someone discovered insulin, all of a sudden people started living 40, 50 years longer. Yeah, you have to make a molecule, you have to, ship it here and there, but you can't ignore 50 years more life. And people with diabetes would die the most horrible deaths. And so that is the kind of solution that's needed. And it will take nothing but other than drastically better at drastically less. And no one will be able to ignore it, and it's possible. We're already doing it. Number 4. So it kind of goes without saying that you need to do this. Innovation to achieve 10 times better at 1/10 the cost. Actually, it's not good enough. It needs to be done locally. Local data is the only thing that will shift the culture. So wherever NOM is, it has to be producing the data locally. No one cares in Vancouver what we're doing in Calgary. They want to see it in their patients, in their populations, or if we're in Calgary, no one cares that we're doing so good with South Asians. They want to know, can you help an inmate? Can you help a woman? Can you help someone with complex trauma? Can you help someone who's severely brain injured? Only when you demonstrate it in their population that better is possible, then they'll accept it. So local data, local meaning same location, but also the same practice population. So that's what we need to do. And that's what NOM will do. NOM will grow into little areas like maybe opening a halfway house, taking on some fresh inmates. Right now, organization may have issue with burnout in staff. We show them how to do it and then teach them. And that comes to the 5th thing. We have to be able to be a leader in education. So a lot of organizations keep trade secrets. NOM will keep no secret. We will give it out. So we have to be a leader in education. And this is where NOM Academy comes. We have to be a leader in education. And mentorship. And I have just 2 other pillars. So we're at 5. The 6th principle is that we have to be able and willing. We have to be sustainable. But not just any kind of sustainable. Sustainable independent of agendas. The only agenda that matters is our agenda. Holistic recovery for all. We can't be pandering for grants and for things and fitting ourselves into others' molds. We need to grow and we need to build sustainability, and that may involve sustainable and independent. So this may well involve engaging in some social enterprise and some ways that make sense. It may involve contracts with existing agencies to take on some challenging aspects. And because we have this culture, I'm just going to lower this thing so you can see it. Because we have this approach, we can help out in some real problem areas and do it better at a lot less cost. Some people stay in hospital for 4 years, and all they got is dissociative trauma problem. It's not complicated. And so I suspect that there would be a willingness to sort of... And then pillar number 7 kind of goes actually to that. We start with the marginalized. So whoever we serve, we start with the marginalized. So we start with the hardest. You know, when we started, we kind of, you know, outpatient clinic, this and that, and no one really cared for our counseling practice out in the community. It wasn't the need that needed to be met most urgently. We start with the things that aren't getting done right now. So, right now that's South Asian, non-English speaking housing. We get good with that, and then we work our ways up. We'll work with the people no one wants to work with, because that's the opportunity. And actually it's skeptics make the best converts, is the same. And so why not start with the marginalized? The key value behind all of this, the key sort of thing, is this concept of, and I'll just write the word here, seva. This is a Gurmukhi word that means selfless service. So no one just works at NOM. No one just volunteers at NOM. We need everyone to call upon their innate desire to help themselves and help their fellow human beings, and call upon their ability to do seva. Ours is a mission that is fulfilling. It's a life purpose. Whether you stay with us long, whether you stay with us short, we want it to be a win-win. You come in, we don't want to ignore anyone's home life. We want your home life to be better because you're here learning these things, and it can be. So this is the vision, the mission, vision, and what I call the pillars of NOM. I'll call this a first draft, because but it's a pretty good sort of articulation. So I'm just gonna sort of pause it there.
You should have said.
And so, no questions. So please, you can email us any questions or talk to someone. Thank you. My sincerest apologies if I misspoke, or if we're all just working to do our best. Thank you.